So today we'll be talking about the distributive property. It's all about making solving math problems easier for us when we do mental math. In this lesson, you will learn to solve single-digit by multi-digit problems using the distributive property. Distributive means to give shares of something or to give out. When looking in math, we distribute to give to each number. So for example, in this problem, we will distribute the 4 to the 5 as well as the 4 to the 2. So this problem can be written as 4 in parentheses 5, which also means multiplication, plus 4 times 2. This will equal 4 times 5. That will equal 20. And our 4 times 2 will equal 8. So for the total, 28. That is one way that we can use the distributive property. This will be a problem that we will look at the end of this lesson to see if we can bring everything together and use the distributive property to write this expression in 2 different ways. There are 6 skateboarders. Each one has 1 helmet and 4 pads. How much protective gear is that all together with all the skateboarders? We want to write this expression 2 different ways using the distributive property. So we'll be looking at that come a few minutes. You can use the distributive property to multiply faster. So 18 times 6, what can you do to make this easier? So I'd like you to think using what we already know a little bit about the distributive property. Why don't you pause the video right now and take a look and think, write down and jot a few notes. Alright, now that you've taken a few notes and thought about this problem, one way we can do 18 times 6 is we can take 6, we can take 6, we can take that multiplied by 10, and we can take, addition, 6 times 8. Where this comes from? This 6 times 10 comes from the tens spot, and our 6 times 8 comes from the 1 spot. So this 10 is from the 10 is from the 10 spot, the 8 is from the 1 spot. Now we know 6 times 10 is 60, and we know 6 times 8 is 48. And now we have addition. We add that together, that equals 108. That is one of the ways you can use a distributive property to add this. Now let's try some together. Looking at 14 times 13, we can take a 4 times 10, and we'll break the 13 up into a 10 and a 3. And then we'll add 4 times 3. And that will equal 40 plus 12. The 40 comes from here, which comes from the 10 spot. And the 12 comes from the 4 times the 3, which comes from the 1 spot. After we add these together, that equals 52. So you can see you can do 4 times 13, you can break it up and make sure that our multiplier, which is our 4, is constant. It stays the same through the distributive property. So our next one will be 8 times 27. So we can take 8 times 20. We add 8 times 7. And then we get 160.
Miss Vasaro.
And then we also get 56. If I can get this one. 56. which equals 216. So for our next one, we have 6 times 42. So we'll take the 6, multiply that by 40, and then we have our plus our 6 times our 2. That equals 240 plus 12, which makes 252. Which makes 6 times 42 much easier to do 6 times 40 and 6 times 2. Now for the last one, we have 3 times 27. I'll do 3 times 27 in the middle of the screen. So we have 3 times 20 plus 3 times 7. And when we get that, we get 60 from the 3 times 20, and we get 21 from the 3 times 7. That equals 81. So after looking at those problems, doing a few practice, I'd like you to pause the video and try this next example on your own. Now we will do 5 times 34. After you've already written it down, we will do 5. We'll split it up to 5 times 30. That's a nice number. Plus 5 times 4, which also gives us a nice number. So what is 5 times 30? $150. Then we add on 5 times 4, which is 20. Altogether, that equals 170. So it's a quick, easy way to get 5 times 34 using distributive property through the tens and the ones place, in the 3 and the 4. Next, we're going to try to break up 3-digit numbers by using the distributive property. 5 times 114. One way to do that, which there are multiple ways, one way to do that is we look at the hundreds place and we take 5 times 100. That right there is our hundreds place. Next, we add our tens. So we look at our tens, and that's our 1. That's going to be there. So we want to keep the multiplier the same as the 5. So it's 5 times 10 plus, then we look at our ones place. We're left over with 4 ones. 5 times 4. What does that equal? That equals, we have 500 for the green, plus 50 for the red, plus 20 for the black. So that equals 570 total. So it's a quick way to get 514 as your answer. Next, we have 500 plus 5 times 30 plus 5 times 7. We have our ones, our tens, and our hundreds. So this will be 500 plus 5 times 30 is 150. And then plus we have 35. Add that all up, we have 685. Now for our skateboarding problem. We have 6 skateboarders. and we have 1 helmet per skateboarder, and we have four pads. So how to use the distributed property to find out how much total equipment we have for these skateboarders. We will do 6, that's the number of skateboarders. In parentheses, we will have the number of helmets. We'll have the number of helmets, which is 1. And then we will add on the number of knee pads, which is 4. Using distributive property, we will do 6. This equals 6 times 5, which equals 30. Or we could also do 6 times 1 plus 6 times 4, like we have been doing, just like our first problem of the day. So we have 6 plus 24 equals 30. You are now free to move on to your worksheet.